The tangled web of relationships we humans have with food. It's like a complicated love affair where we can't decide if we're in it for the nutrition or the thrill of the taste buds. When we're home twiddling our thumbs and binge-watching Netflix, food becomes our knight in a shining apron. But let's face it, folks, our relationship with food can be very confusing. Our daily feasting can turn into a battle of willpower versus the allure of that extra slice of pizza. So, what's a hungry monk or a hangry human to do? Well, according to the wise teachings of the Buddha, it's all about mindfulness, baby. In the serene sanctuary of Lotus Peak Monastery, where the air was thick with the scent of incense and the occasional snore of a meditating monk, there lived a rather rotund brother named Channa. Despite his cherubic face and his gentle demeanor, Channa had a not-so-secret vice. He was absolutely, positively, uncontrollably in love with food. Now, this wasn't just your run-of-the-mill love for food. No, this was a full-blown obsession. The mere mention of dumplings or the sight of a steaming bowl of noodles would send Channa into a frenzy of gluttony that would put even the hungriest of bears to shame. Try as he might to adhere to the strict monastic code, Channa found himself constantly at war with his insatiable appetite. Whether it was the aroma of freshly baked bread wafting from the kitchen or the tantalizing spreads laid out during festive occasions, the temptation was always lurking around the corner, ready to pounce on poor Channa like a hungry tiger. One fine autumn morning, with the leaves crunching underfoot and the sun casting long shadows across the courtyard, Channa decided he'd had enough. He would seek guidance from none other than the big cheese himself, the Buddha. So, with a belly full of regret and a heart heavy with the burden of his gluttony, Channa waddled his way to where the Buddha was holding court, hoping against hope for a miracle cure for his voracious appetite. With a sheepish grin and a rumble in his tummy that could rival the monastery's morning gong, Channa spilled his guts to the Buddha, confessing his struggles with overeating and pleading for divine intervention. The Buddha, bless his enlightened soul, listened patiently to Channa's plight, nodding sagely as the poor monk poured out his troubles like a leaky teapot. Then, with a twinkle in his eye and a chuckle that sounded like the tinkling of temple bells, the Buddha offered Channa a simple yet profound solution to his gastronomic woes. "Dear Channa," the Buddha said, his voice as soothing as a lullaby, "the secret to enlightenment lies not in the bottom of a bowl, but in the mindful savoring of each and every bite. Listen to your body, my friend, and let it be your guide. Eat not for the sheer joy of stuffing your face, but for the nourishment and vitality it brings." And with that, the Buddha imparted his wisdom to Channa, who nodded along as if he'd just been told the world's greatest joke. But deep down, he knew that the Buddha was onto something. Armed with newfound determination and a belly full of resolve, and maybe just a hint of leftover lunch, Channa set out on his journey towards mindful eating. With each mouthful, he savored the flavors like a sommelier sampling fine wine, all the while keeping a watchful eye on his ever-expanding waistline. And lo and behold, as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Channa found that his cravings had diminished, replaced by a newfound sense of inner peace and contentment. No longer was he a slave to his insatiable appetite. Instead, he was a monk reborn, wiser, happier, and maybe just a little bit lighter around the waist. And so, dear friends, let the tale of Channa be a lesson to us all, that with a little bit of mindfulness and a whole lot of determination, even the hungriest of hearts can find peace in a world filled with temptation. Cultivate mindfulness by bringing full attention to the sensations of eating. Notice the textures, flavors, and aromas of each bite without judgment or attachment. By staying present in the moment, you can better discern true hunger from emotional cravings. So, what's the moral of the story? Well, it's simple. Whether you're a hungry monk or a hangry human, the key to happiness lies in finding balance. So, the next time you find yourself face to face with a fridge full of temptation, remember the wise words of the Buddha. Mindfulness is the key to liberation from the cycle of craving and suffering. And if all else fails, just grab an apple, the fruit not the Mac.